What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, January 19th, 2025, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. So, apparently, Ukraine has launched another massive strike on Russia, this time in the Kazan region, and we don't know exactly what Ukraine hit, but you can see here this massive fire on the horizon. I'm hearing that they hit some kind of a military airport. Okay, Kazan is really far from Ukraine, so they must have used either some kind of a long-range drone or possibly a Storm Shadow missile from the UK. And we're also hearing that Ukrainian forces destroyed some Russian air defense systems in the Zaporizhia region. Apparently, a Tor and a Buk system were destroyed by Ukraine. We currently have this data being transmitted on the primary U.S. nuclear war frequency, and it's been transmitting for 2 days now. I'm not sure if this is related to Trump's inauguration or if it's related to something else. What's interesting is the signal appears to be coming out of Europe because the European stations are picking up this signal the strongest, and here in the US you can barely hear it. So this is some kind of a data stream. It's encrypted data, and it's been transmitting since Friday night, so 2 days in a row, non-stop. Usually they transmit this data when something big is about to go down. It could be related to Trump's inauguration, but if that was the case, then we would be hearing it here in the US and not so much in Europe. So this tells me this is related to something in Europe. Okay, we know that Russia sent 2 drones to Ukraine in the Odessa region on Thursday night, and 2 of those drones ended up crashing in Romania. They violated Romania's airspace. Okay, we also have Russian doomsday planes going to Siberia last night. Another Russian doomsday plane went to Siberia, but let me play this data stream here, and in the background you'll also hear a nuclear attack option being broadcasted simultaneously.
Charlie, Zulu, Oscar, Whiskey, Romeo, Tango, Uniform, Tango.
So we also have 2 presidential doomsday planes that went to D.C. and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base this afternoon. Okay, both of them leaving from Offutt Air Base, one going to D.C. and one to Wright-Patterson. I think this is related to the inauguration. They're moving the doomsday planes closer to D.C. If something were to happen, they could put Trump on one of these planes and he could command the entire U.S. military from the air. And Time magazine is reporting that Ukraine's victory in the war with Russia was never the U.S.'s goal. The phrase the White House used to describe its mission at the time to support Ukraine for as long as it takes was deliberately vague. We deliberately didn't talk about territorial parameters, says Eric Green, who at the time served on Biden's National Security Council overseeing Russia policy. In other words, the U.S. did not promise to help Ukraine reclaim all the lands occupied by Russia, much less the vast swaths of eastern Ukraine and the Crimean Peninsula seized in its initial invasion in 2014. The reason was simple, Green said. In the White House's view, doing so was beyond Ukraine's ability to do, even with active Western assistance. Ultimately, this was not a success story. The more important goal was for Ukraine to survive as a sovereign, democratic country free to integrate with the West. Okay, so there you have it. In the final hours of the Biden administration, we have some news coming out that Biden never wanted Ukraine to take back their land, that basically their only hope was to just survive as a country. Okay, and Ukraine is going to start building their own air defense systems, according to the Supreme Commander of the Ukrainian military, Oleksandr Syrsky. And the U.S. military flyover previously scheduled for Trump's inauguration right before noon has been canceled. So they were going to fly, fighter jets and military planes over the National Mall. Apparently, it's been canceled. We know that the inauguration has been moved indoors, and they've expanded the perimeter outwards from the Capitol. Okay, and this is the first time since 1985, when Ronald Reagan was inaugurated, the second time that they've had an indoor inauguration. So it's definitely not because of the weather. I think it's because of security reasons. And Trump said today at his rally that tomorrow at noon the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline, and we begin a brand new day of American strength, prosperity, dignity, and pride. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to use my link, preparewithNYPrepper.com. They have 4 months of freeze-dried food, which has a shelf life of 25 years. And their normal price is $250. And with my link, that'll drop the price down to $200. So you save $50 on this 1-month emergency food supply from My Patriot Supply. All of the food is packed into 2 rugged, watertight buckets. 4 weeks of food in just 2 buckets. You can fit that in any apartment or even in your vehicle. But use my link, preparewithNYPrepper.com, to get $50 off the My Patriot Supply 1-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. And apparently every Biden executive order will be repealed when Trump takes office. Senior Trump advisors have reportedly prepared between 100 to 200 executive orders that Trump is expected to sign on Monday at the U.S. Capitol immediately following the inauguration, and then at both the Capital One Arena and the White House later in the afternoon. The orders are expected to cover many campaign promises made by Trump, including delaying the TikTok ban for up to 90 days, tariffs of up to 25% on products coming from Mexico and Canada, declaring a national emergency on the U.S.-Mexico border, closing the U.S.-Mexico border, directing the U.S. military to construct additional infrastructure, aka border wall, on the U.S.-Mexican border, designating Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, reinstating a ban on transgender military service, rescinding any DEI policy put in place by the Biden administration, repealing several policies on electric vehicles, repealing several policies related to the Green New Deal, removing certain limits on offshore oil drilling on federal land, declaring a national emergency on energy, orders on the mass deportation of illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities, ending birthright citizenship, reestablishing the Remain in Mexico program, and pardons for hundreds, if not thousands, of people who participated in the January 6th protest/riot at the Capitol building. So absolutely massive number of executive orders, and he will declare a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border. And we're also hearing that he's going to pause all offshore wind leases, like wind farms. And Trump also plans to suspend the security clearances of the 51 intelligence officials who lied about Hunter Biden's laptop. And Biden plans to pen Trump a letter before leaving the White House tomorrow. And Biden and his wife Jill will ride with Trump and Melania to the U.S. Capitol tomorrow. Wow, that's pretty interesting. And Trump says in the coming days he will make public remaining records around the assassination of former President JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and other topics of great public interest. Very interesting. And Trump said also that he would quickly end the war in Ukraine and stop World War III. He said this today at the Victory Rally. Trump says he will direct the construction of a U.S. version of the Israeli Iron Dome missile defense system. Very interesting. And Trump's top domestic policy advisor, Stephen Miller, briefed Republican leadership in the House of Representatives and the Senate of the executive orders that Trump plans to enact. Okay, so the Republicans in Congress have already been briefed on them. And Vice President-elect J.D. Vance met and spoke today in Washington with Chinese Vice President Han Zhang, who will attend tomorrow's inauguration as the official representative of the People's Republic of China. And Vivek Ramaswamy, who was chosen by Trump to lead his Department of Government Efficiency alongside Elon Musk, has signaled to members of his team that he is planning to step down from this position once he announces his campaign for governor of Ohio. Very interesting. And we currently have some high priority reconnaissance in northern and eastern Poland along the border of Russia and Belarus. Let me just show you guys. So this is an RQ-4 Global Hawk, and it's focusing all of its efforts here along the Russian-Polish border and the Belarus-Polish border here, making numerous passes here near northwestern Belarus. This happens to be an area where the inventor Lee Wheelbarger saw on satellite photos hundreds of unmarked trucks that were piling up on the border of Poland here in Belarus. Okay, potentially logistics trucks that are unmarked and disguised as civilian trucks, but really they're the logistics for an invasion force. Okay, so this is very interesting. And let me just play some clips of Trump from today's victory rally.
Tomorrow at noon, the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline, and we begin a brand new day of American strength and prosperity, dignity and pride. Bringing it all back. Once and for all, we're going to end the reign of a failed and corrupt political establishment in Washington, a failed administration. We're not going to take it anymore. We're going to stop the invasion of our borders. We're going to reclaim our wealth. We're going to unlock the liquid gold that's right under our feet, liquid gold. We're going to bring back law and order to our cities. We're going to restore patriotism to our schools, get radical left, woke ideologies the hell out of our military and out of our government. And we are going to make America great again.
And here we have Biden and his wife leaving Air Force One for the last time. And then here we have Trump talking about declassifying information.
As a first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, and in the coming days, we are going to make public remaining records relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and other topics of great public interest. It's all going to be released, Uncle Sam.
Wow. Wonder if they're going to release the UFO stuff that the government has.
I will end the war in Ukraine. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening. And you have no idea how close we are.
Very chilling words. He says, you have no idea how close we are.
And you have no idea how close we are. And you have no idea how close we are.
So Trump is very concerned about nuclear warming, as he calls it. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts with him when he was still on the campaign trail, and it seems to be a big worry for him is nuclear war.
And I will direct our military to begin construction of the Great Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will all be made in the USA.
Wow, so he's going to instruct the military to create an American version of the Iron Dome. Very interesting. I wonder how in practice that's going to look like. I wonder if that's going to mean more of the ground-based mid-course defense interceptors, maybe placed in the east, somewhere in the East Coast, or maybe in Greenland if the U.S. acquires Greenland from Denmark. We currently have some South Korean Air Force reconnaissance going on along the border with North Korea, and we had a U.S. Navy sub-hunter patrolling the coast of Iran in the Persian Gulf here. And the Israeli Prison Service has reported that 90 Palestinian prisoners were released from the Offer prison in exchange for 3 Israeli hostages. And here we have video footage of the first hostages being released. You can see them riding in on a Red Cross vehicle. Okay, the Red Cross was the intermediary here, so the Red Cross went to Gaza and picked up the hostages from Hamas. And there they are, these 3 girls here. And initial medical screening is saying that they are in good physical condition. Now, this one girl, I think with the blue sweats or green sweats, she actually lost 2 fingers when she was holding her dog, and Hamas actually shot her dog while she was holding the dog, and I guess the bullet hit her fingers and she lost her fingers, but otherwise they're all in good condition. And we're also hearing that 4 new Israeli hostages are supposed to be released next Saturday as part of the next phase of the deal. And Ben Gvir, the nationalist who was in the Netanyahu government, apparently resigned from the Netanyahu government over the hostage deal, which he said was not good. And the Israeli army is reportedly planning new operations in Syria in the coming days, and Russia is continuing to transfer massive amounts of military equipment and aircraft from Syria to Libya. They're moving all of their equipment from the Khmaimim Air Base in Latakia, Syria, to the Al-Qadem base in eastern Libya. And OpenAI is set to announce artificial intelligence super agents capable of performing tasks at a PhD level. Wow. And extreme fire weather is returning to the LA area. Here you can see a warning that was put out by the National Weather Service. You can see here Monday and Tuesday, high-end red flag warnings for Los Angeles and Ventura counties. It says prepare an evacuation plan for you and your loved ones. Pack essentials in an emergency go bag. This is why you need a bug-out bag, guys. Charge necessary electronic and lighting devices. Fill up gas tanks of cars and generators. I thought generators were illegal in California. I guess not. Secure any loose outdoor items. Adjust travel plans Monday night through Tuesday morning. They're saying here also avoid trees and power lines and use extreme caution with anything that can spark a fire. Okay, so they're concerned about power outages, downed trees, extreme fire weather conditions with very rapid and erratic fire spread and long-range spotting, dangerous driving conditions, hazardous sea conditions, okay? So it looks like these wildfires could reignite on Monday and Tuesday. And we also have this massive plunge of cold air coming into the U.S. from Canada and the North Pole. You can see much of the U.S. under some kind of a winter storm warning or a wind chill warning, cold advisory, extreme cold watch. Okay, we have wind chills that are going to drop to as low as minus 30 in many areas of the country, okay? In my area, they're saying minus 30 wind chills on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, okay, as well as Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, the Midwest, Kentucky, the Upper South. Also, they're going to have extreme wind chills. North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota. And then we have winter storm warnings for southern Louisiana and coastal Texas, guys. That is totally insane. There's winter storm warnings all the way down to the Mexican border, down to the Rio Grande. Okay, there's going to be several inches of snow all the way down to the Rio Grande, to the Mexican border. That is surreal, guys. Also, New Orleans is going to get several inches of snow. Okay, so what happened to global warming? Okay, where is it? Because I don't see it. Okay, we have winter storm warnings in New Orleans, okay, the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana, snow expected all the way down to the Mexican border. We have wind chills as low as minus 30 or more in places like Alabama. I mean, that's just totally insane. Okay, so it seems to me like we're actually in a global cooling phase now. And 2 people from Oregon were arrested inside the Palisades fire zone for impersonating firefighters. Police say they had a fire truck which was bought in an auction, and they were wearing California Fire t-shirts and claimed to be with the Roaring River Fire Department, which doesn't exist. Here you can see their truck, and they just painted Roaring River Fire Department. So, they were probably going around stealing stuff, looting, or just joyriding. I don't know what they were doing. And TikTok is back online. When you reinstall the app, they have this message here. It says, "Welcome back. Thanks for your patience and support. As a result of President Trump's efforts, TikTok is back in the U.S." Okay, so looks like the bigwigs at Facebook and YouTube did not get their way. What this was is YouTube and Facebook were pissed off that TikTok was taking their business, okay? Because over the last 2 to 3 years, TikTok has exploded, and a lot of people were leaving YouTube and Facebook and going to TikTok. And, Facebook and YouTube got pissed off about that. Plus, the government wanted to consolidate their control over social media, and YouTube and Facebook work with the government. Okay, remember Event 201 right before COVID? Okay, the tabletop exercise by Bill Gates where they talked about using social media, the government using social media to convince people of certain things, okay, using social media as basically a propaganda tool, a misinformation tool, okay, and to control information. Well, they can't control TikTok because TikTok is overseas. So they wanted to get rid of it, to increase the censorship and control of information, okay? Not saying that TikTok is like conservative or something, not by any means, but they want to consolidate that control over social media. The government and the bigwigs in YouTube and Facebook and all the American-based giant social media companies do not want foreign competition, okay? But that's basically it for now. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news. I will be covering the inauguration as best as I can. Keep in mind, everything is copyrighted, so it's not like I'm going to be able to really provide you much beyond what the big networks are providing. So I don't know if I'll do a live coverage of Trump getting sworn in. I may, I'm not sure yet. But until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.